A meta-analysis of 13 randomized control trials was published. There's a few findings within this study, so let's just talk through them because there's a lot that we can learn from these. Looking at any type, any window of time-restricted eating versus regular eating, they found that the time restriction led to no loss in muscle mass, improved weight loss by about 4 pounds, decreased inflammation as TNF-alpha, an inflammatory cytokine, decreased fasting glucose 5 points, improved insulin resistance, and improved blood pressure. Now, coming back to this comparison of early versus late time-restricted eating, in those consolidating to an earlier eating window, there was superior weight loss, fasting blood glucose, fasting insulin, and insulin resistance. So again, why this is so novel is that we're looking at the results across 13 randomized control trials on fasting, clearly demonstrating that it does matter when you fast. It's, I think, incorrect based upon these data to say, well, I'm just going to eat later in the day, compress my window, and that's going to be okay. If you're eating too late, that seems to be inferior. And specifically, how this study defined early versus late. Early was defined as starting the eating before 10 and the last meal at or before 6 p.m. And then late TRE started at or after noon, and their last meal was after 6 p.m. Now, this also begs the question, does it matter when you start or when you have your last meal? My interpretation is it's more important the time you have your last meal, because you could do a 4-hour eating window where maybe you started at 2, or 6-hour window might be the most practical. You start at noon and you end at 6. My thinking is when you have your last meal is probably the most important factor. And this may be because the time you go to bed and the proximity of eating to bedtime are what's going to most tightly track with when you have your last meal. Quoting these researchers, early TRE, time-restricted eating, especially the 16-to-8 strategy, offers multiple benefits. It can simultaneously preserve fat-free mass while promoting weight loss, reduce abdominal obesity and inflammation, and improve glucose metabolism. These results highlight that early TRE could serve as a safe and sustainable long-term solution for the prevention of sarcopenic obesity, that's low muscle mass and high fat mass, and cardiovascular disease. The most important thing I've taken away from this is it's not just if you fast, but it's the window of fasting, and most importantly, when you have your last meal, which should be at or before 6 p.m. So then in conclusion, be cautious of the alarming headlines from this observational poster presentation. I do not feel the data are of sufficient quality to inform change. If we do look at the high-quality meta-analysis data, time-restricted eating improves cardiovascular and metabolic markers and overall health. Early TRE seems to be better than late TRE, with a 8-hour or perhaps less eating window starting earlier in the day and making sure you have your last meal at or before 6 p.m. And I hope what this helps you to do is look at not only what you're eating, but when you're eating